Hi folks, Canadian Prepper here. Today on the channel, we are going to talk about a first aid item that I bet you haven't thought of putting in your bug out bag. So let's get to it. Okay guys, if you're not familiar, this is the Bug Out Roll Medical Kit. We sell these at CanadianPreparedness.com. They are made in Canada. These are built to withstand a nuclear war. Everything on this is overbuilt. Does not include all the items, but we are a certified level 2 distributor of first aid products. And the reason why this is so great, as you can see, all of your items are going to be visible. This is cold crack, heat resistant vinyl, incredibly durable stuff, YKK zips, 600 denier Cordura, built to withstand a nuclear bomb. It's also modular and it's also available in many other colors, but you have to build your own kit. So go and watch my first aid medical roll video where I talk all about novel items, level 2 grade medical supplies like clotting agents, things like quick clot, tourniquets, skin staplers, sutures, all the rest. Now, the only things we don't sell are things like AEDs, defibrillators, oxygen tanks. Speaking of oxygen tanks, there's a product I want to share with you guys today, and perhaps some of you of a medical background can give your insight on this and let me know whether you think this is a good idea. Also, don't forget, your first aid kit for the apocalypse is not complete without the Survival Medicine Handbook, available in color or black and white. The color version is twice as expensive. Of course, some people like those color illustrations. I don't think it's entirely necessary. It certainly makes it a little bit easier on the eyes, but the color version is back ordered for a couple weeks. So go check it out, CanadianPreparedness.com. Now, some of you have probably already seen this product on the shelves at your local department store. Maybe you've seen it on Shark Tank. Maybe you've even seen it on a very famous YouTuber's channel. But before we get to that, let me just take a little hit here. 95% oxygen. Let's talk about this product, all right? This is called Boost Oxygen. It's basically oxygen in a can. Now, I got some notes here because I've been doing a bit of research on this product to see whether or not it's a gimmick. Apparently, based on testimonials, people, especially high altitude climbers, swear that it works. Now, athletes use supplemental oxygen. Obviously, oxygen has a bunch of potential uses, like some people have claimed that it helped them out in the wildfire situations, bugging out in the same way as an athlete might use it. If you need to get your cells the oxygen that they need in order for stamina and endurance, this might be something useful. Other potential uses are hangover management. If you live in a polluted environment with a lot of toxins in the air, taking a nice fresh hit for 95% oxygen might do you well. Mental refreshment, alertness, breathing help boost cognitive function, memory, reaction time, make you feel more alert and energetic. I'm not too sure about that. In doing this, I don't notice any immediate effect, okay? But I'm sure it's doing something. If for whatever reason I was fatigued and my cells needed oxygen, then this might do it. Some people say it helps with low blood pressure, recovery from rigorous exercise, preventing cramping. Okay, this is manufactured in the USA. Now, this is not to be confused with medical grade oxygen for patients, which is actually 99.2%. Now, let's talk about that for a second, because a lot of people are going to say this is nowhere near enough oxygen to use it for such purposes as we've seen in the past couple of years, where people have actually had to go on oxygen tanks. This is not going to be sufficient for that, namely because that oxygen is 99.2%, and of course you have a lot more of it. For a person who has been hospitalized with the virus and is on oxygen, they're using about 1 liter per minute of oxygen. Now, this is just what I've researched, so don't quote me on that, but it's a lot more than this will ever provide. This big can provides you with 10 liters of oxygen. It is virtually weightless. You cannot tell if the can is empty or full. This gives you about 200 puffs of oxygen, okay? but only 10 liters. So at best, this is going to give you 10 minutes of potential life support. Now, the company claims that the 95% oxygen concentration can be tested by an oxygen gauge and has been independently done so by people on the internet. So a lot of people have obviously speculated that, hey, this is a gimmick, this is something that you're never going to use, you're never going to need. On the flip side of that, though, I've read a lot of testimonials. I've combed many comment sections of critical reviews of this stuff, and there's a lot of people who resist the critics and say, no, this has actually worked at high altitudes, and after all, it is oxygen. So if your cells in your body are oxygen deprived, then this may actually help them. But what this is probably not going to be good for, and I quote, are medical conditions that require medical grade oxygen, both for short-term and long-term use, things like chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, COPD, pulmonary fibrosis, pneumonia, asthma, cystic fibrosis, and or sleep apnea. Now, it may help those things temporarily, but again, I don't know. I'm just wondering, as a prepper, okay, do I go the distance and put this in my bug out bag? I believe you can get these from anywhere between 10 to 25 bucks a canister. So obviously not cheap as far as air goes, but not overly expensive either for something that you may never have to use. But like I said, it's virtually weightless. If you're somebody who struggles with stamina, endurance, maybe you're not in great shape, this could potentially give you a bit faster recovery. It may have some marginal and very short-term performance enhancing benefits in a get out of Dodge situation. So the air we breathe is around 21% oxygen and the rest is nitrogen. This is about 4 to 5 times the amount of oxygen that's in the air at about 95% oxygen. I personally don't notice much of a difference when I inhale this stuff. Mind you, I haven't used it after any rigorous exercise yet, so I'm sure after I've done some high intensity training or I've done some sprints that this is definitely going to aid in the recovery. Is that a good thing that you're not allowing your body to naturally do it itself or not? Which is why a lot of climbers and hikers have to acclimate themselves to those conditions before they start climbing tall mountains, whether that means staying at base camp for a few weeks to decompress or to compress or whatever you want to call it. They have to do that. So something to keep in mind, but I think this is worth considering. Now, apparently there's no negative side effects. There is a condition called oxygen toxicity, and in order for you to succumb to that, you would have to hyperventilate pure medical grade oxygen for 16 straight hours in double the normal atmospheric pressure. Okay, that could potentially cause irreversible lung damage, convulsions, and perhaps death. But this, of course, is extremely unlikely, and the only people who might experience such a rare situation are divers who might be trapped underwater for many hours. So there's nowhere near enough oxygen in a canister like this for that to ever happen.
I always wish that it would make me have that helium voice. I think if they could put that in there, that would be a cool side effect of it, although that might negate some of the positive effects.
But this has been banned from MMA and boxing, which is a testament to the fact that it actually does work. You can use it when you're not in a fight, but you can't actually use it while you're in a fight because there are those short-term performance enhancing benefits. So I think that if you don't have access to a prescription grade medical tank, I don't know, all the laws are going to vary depending on where you live. In some places, you can actually buy oxygen tanks. Obviously, scuba divers use them. You can get non-medical grade, which are basically the same thing. But again, don't quote me on that. This is getting into an area I don't know a whole lot about. So perhaps we can come together in the comment section and talk about whether or not you think this is something worth putting in your bug out bag. I personally think for the person who has everything in their medical kit, I don't see why something like this would necessarily hurt. You know, I mean, if somebody was having an asthma attack or had extremely high blood pressure or was just in a panic state and maybe they weren't breathing properly. Maybe it's a situation where you are running your ass off to get out of a burning building or trying to get out of a forest fire, evacuate a forest fire zone. I'm sure there's some condition when this may well come in handy, and it may actually be a bit of a lifesaver, but again, that might be a stretch. It might just be a small performance enhancing supplement. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. I did order this in Canada. You can get it in Canada. A lot of things we can't get here, unfortunately, but you can get it from Amazon in Canada and the States. I will post the link in the comment section below and in the description. And don't forget to get your survival medicine handbook from CanadianPreparedness.com, written by Dr. Bones and Nurse Amy, the #1 medical book that money can buy for the apocalypse. We also have a variety of other books there, from how to harvest wild edibles, survival everything. Go check out our library. It's becoming very extensive. One thing I forgot to mention is that there's something that people often forget to put in their medical kit, whether it's a bug out roll or whatever medical kit you got, and that is a headlamp. Put a headlamp in your medical kit, because if you live where I live in the winter time, most of the day, the 24-hour cycle is going to be in darkness. And having to work on a person or help a person when your hands aren't free because you're holding a flashlight or you got a flashlight in your mouth and you're trying to keep it steady, put a damn headlamp in your first aid kit. And hopefully you never have to use it. And it's Christmas red, so Merry Christmas, guys, if I don't see you until then. But I have a feeling we're going to release a couple videos before Christmas, so stay tuned. The next videos we're going to be releasing are on winter survival shelters and what I think is probably the #1 best winter tent that I've ever used. If I had to survive the apocalypse, it would absolutely be in this tent I'm going to show you guys. So stay tuned for that, guys. Thanks for watching. Canadian Prepper out.
The best way to support this channel is to support yourself by gearing up at CanadianPreparedness.com, where you'll find high-quality survival gear at the best prices, no junk, and no gimmicks. Use discount code PREPPINGGEAR for 10% off. Don't forget, the strong survive, but the prepared thrive. Stay safe. The best way